Somewhere I Belong, Chapter 2, Part 2. Thanks. See you around, he said with a smile on his face. Ditsy took flight and continued on her way. He looked around to see a few ponies staring at him. Isaac quickly put his hood over his head and continued walking. He pulled out his iPod and turned it on. The screen started to flicker and freeze. Son of a... He cut himself off when he heard a steady electric beat coming from a nearby shop. He made his way inside and saw odd-shaped devices that looked similar to iPods. He started to look around. Need help with anything? A calm voice said over at the register. He turned around to see a white unicorn mare with electric blue hair and vibrant red eyes. He pulled his hood down over his head and approached the counter and pulled out the iPod. Yeah, I'm not sure if you have this model, but the mare grabbed the device and started to examine it. What? Never seen a pea-pod like this before, she said in excitement. Well, it's not. It's an iPod. Never heard of a... She then noticed his hands. Isaac let out a breath and pulled his hood back. She looked at him in amazement and tilted her head. You must be the human Lyra was going on about. Yep. Honestly, I thought she was busting. Looks like I lost a bet. So, what can I do for you? What's your name? Isaac. Odd name. I'm Vinyl, by the way, she said as she shook his hand. Nice to meet you. Don't suppose you know how to fix this. Sorry, never seen this type before, she said with a weak grin. There goes my music, he said in a defeated tone. I can't fix it, but I can transfer the music to a pea-pod. She grabbed a black pea-pod from the shelf and set the two devices next to each other. A small magical cable connected the two devices, and the two pieces started to glow. Within 10 seconds, the connection disappeared. There you go. Isaac turned on the pea-pod and skimmed the screen. Sweet, it's all there. He withdrew the bit bag the princess gave him. How much do I owe you? Free of charge, so long as you agree to let me hear some of your music from time to time, she said with a smile. Deal. Hey, what the... he said as he felt his phone being levitated out of his pocket. The mare put it in her palm and entered her number. She handed the device and gave him a smile. Here's my number. Give me a call sometime, she said with a wink. Isaac's face blushed a little. Sure, I'll see you later, Vinyl, he said as he left the shop. He plugged in his headphones and selected a song to play. He walked into the park and saw some birds flying. Isaac climbed a nearby tree and began to doze off, his mind drifting back to his friends and family. Hey! A voice shouted. Isaac's eyes snapped open. He almost fell out of the tree as he stared into a pair of magenta eyes. It was the Silentpegasus from before. Yeah, what? He retorted. Easy, I just came to say hi, she said as she sat on the branch. Rainbow, right? Yep, best flyer in Equestria, she said in a cocky voice. Isaac hopped down to the ground. A small cloud of dust was kicked up as he landed. So you're a guy, right? Yeah, why? He said as she landed next to him. Just making sure. You are the first human I've met, so I have no idea what your girls are supposed to look like. Isaac pulled out his phone and scrolled through his photos until he came across one of him, Allie, and Mason. Who are those guys? That's Allie and Mason. Your siblings? Nah, my friends. Wonder if I'll see them again, he said as he hung his head. Hey, relax. Celestia is looking into it. She'll find a way to send you back, she said as she put a hand on his shoulder. Thanks. Every vote of confidence helps, he said with a smile. So what's your job? I'm the weather manager for Ponyville. So you predict the weather? No, I control the weather, she said with a smile. Control it? How do you do that? Watch. She took flight and began to move the clouds around in the sky. Isaac looked in amazement as she zipped through the sky. Awesome, huh? Isaac nodded. So how do humans control the weather? We don't. All we can do is predict it, and even then we suck at it. So how does the weather work? The clouds move on their own. So what do the humans with wings do? Isaac looked at her in surprise. Humans don't have wings. She let out an audible gasp. What about... Nope, no horns either. Just our hands and feet. That's gotta suck. It's not perfect, but we make do, he said with a shrug. So humans don't fly? No, humans can fly, only with the help of machines. What machines? They're called airplanes. Big metal tubes with stiff wings on each side. A person sits inside and can control the speed and height it flies. Awesome! How big are the planes? They can vary from small one-person planes to massive military crafts that can hold easily 200 people. How fast can they go? Fastest one I think can go Mach 10. That's breaking the sound barrier, she said with a smile. Yeah, many planes do that, he said in a relaxed tone. Have you ever been in one? A plane? Yeah, lots of times. When? Well, when I went on vacation and when I was... Never mind. What? Tell me. Ancient history, not important, he said in a low grumble. Fine, she said in a defeated tone. Suddenly, he saw a familiar gray Pegasus fly overhead. Hey, Ditzy, Rainbow said with a wave. Hey, Rainbow Dash, what's... Oh, it's you, she said as she waved at the man. You know him? Rainbow said with a raised eyebrow. Yeah, he totally saved me earlier. Rainbow looked at him in shock. What? Some assholes were giving her trouble, so I took them down a couple notches, he said as he shrugged. Who was it? I don't know. 2 Pegasus stallions. One was red and the other was blue. Rainbow's eyes narrowed. Oh, those 2, she said in a grumble. You know them? Just 2 punks who think they're better than every pony else. Did you just say every pony? He said with a chuckle. Yeah, why? Oh, nothing, he said as he averted his eyes. He pulled out his phone and looked at the time. I'd better get back to the library before Twilight gives me an earful. See you 2 later. The 2 mares waved goodbye. Isaac scrolled through his phone and looked at the contact list. Day 1 and I've already got 3 girls' numbers. Mason would be proud. Dude, they're mutated horse things. So, they seem cool. Just don't get too comfortable. I know I have to go back. I have no intention on staying. Good. Isaac walked into the library and let out a yawn. Twilight, Spike, I'm back. He walked around the library and sat down on the couch. Just a second, Twilight said as she came down the stairs. Hey, good timing. I was just about to head to Sugar Cube Corner. Wanna come? Sure, he said as he got to his feet. The 2 walked out of the library and ventured into the town. So, how was your walk around town? Interesting. I got a pea pod, talked with a Rainbow, and I beat the living crap out of some guys. The usual. Twilight looked back at him in surprise. What? You said you wouldn't cause any trouble. Look, some stallions were picking on Ditzy, and I put them in their place. That's it. You met Ditzy? Yeah, along with Vinyl. They seem nice. You still said you wouldn't cause any trouble, she said in an annoyed tone. You said Scout's honor. I wasn't going to sit idly by and let some jerks push Ditzy around, he said in a stern tone. Sounds like a personal obligation. Trust me, I've been pushed around enough to recognize it. I was just trying to be nice, he said as they got in front of the bakery. Twilight rolled her eyes and walked inside. The interior was dark when Isaac stepped in. Suddenly, the lights turned on to reveal a large amount of ponies with grins on their faces. Surprise! Isaac stood there stunned. Suddenly, Pinky came running up to him. Well, what do you think? What is this? You're welcome to Ponyville Party. Do you like it? Yeah, looks great, he said with a weak smile. Yay! She exclaimed. Let's party, she yelled. Isaac sat down next to Twilight and the others and watched as the party went into full swing. The ponies danced and gossiped about current events. Isaac remained quiet and out of sight, trying to not draw attention to himself. A familiar mint green unicorn then walked up to him. Hey! Hey, Lyra, what's up? Just wanted to introduce some pony, she said as a cream-colored mare with pink and purple hair joined them. Bonbon, this is Isaac. Isaac, this is my roommate Bonbon. Hi, she said in a nervous tone. Hi. Lyra, can I talk to you for a quick second? Bonbon said as she pulled her aside. What are you doing? What? This proves that I'm right. I still doubt that he's genuine. What could be more genuine? Lyra said in an annoyed tone. I'm just saying, don't get your hopes up, Lyra. I know how you get. Bonbon, for the last few years, every pony said I was crazy for believing in humans, and now that I finally have some proof, you're telling me not to use it, she said as she crossed her arms. We don't know anything about that thing. He could be dangerous. I'm willing to take that risk. He's going to accelerate my research tenfold. I suggest you do one thing before you start your questions. What? Find him. Lyra looked behind her to see that the seat he was sitting in was empty. Note to self. Humans are sneaky, she thought as she made her way through the party. Isaac had made his way away from the mares and found a booth to relax in. Soon a familiar white mare came over to him. Sup? She asked. Not much, you? Enjoying the party? I guess. I'm not much for the party scene. Why? To be honest, this is my first one, he said in a defeated tone. What? Yeah. He then noticed that two familiar Pegasi were making their way through the crowd and over to his table. "Oh great, the welcoming committee," he said as he got to his feet. "Can I help you two with something?" "Yeah, time for some payback," the red stallion said as he cracked his knuckles. "I'm sorry, have we met?" "You don't remember this afternoon?" the blue Pegasus interjected. "Nope, I've got a weird medical condition. I can't remember those who are weaker than me." Vinyl chuckled at the statement. "Oh, that's a riot," the red stallion said as he closed the gap between the two. "You're invading my personal space," he said in a calm tone. "Look, sorry about earlier. Come on, this is a party. Let's bury the hatchet, eh?" he said as he offered them a drink. The stallions knocked the cups out of his hands, causing the ponies to look and stare at the group. That was rather rude. The blue stallion then punched him in the side of the cheek. Isaac looked back at the two Pegasi with a blank stare. "You see, when you do something like that, it's gonna get your asses kicked," he said as he quickly kicked the two into the middle of the room. He took out his pea pod and handed it to Vinyl. "Vinyl, be a sport and play track number 6. Vinyl took the device and plugged it into the speaker, and a song began to play. He quickly took off his jacket and walked forward, where the stallions had gotten back onto their feet. He noticed that a dark brown Pegasus had joined the group. "Ladies first," he said as the red stallion threw a few quick jabs, which he blocked. He grabbed the stallion's hand and threw him into a nearby table. The blue stallion ran forward. Isaac grabbed a nearby plate and threw it. The plate hit the stallion's leg, causing him to drop to one knee. The man quickly ran forward and launched himself off of the stallion's knee and delivered a kick to the stallion's face. As he landed, he felt himself being grabbed by the brown Pegasus and being thrown into a corner. He quickly got to his feet and put a finger to his lip to feel himself bleeding. He smiled and wiped the blood from his face. "Okay, enough warm-up." He walked up to the large stallion, who grabbed a nearby plastic tray and held it in front of him, trying to protect himself. The human placed the tips of his fingers on the tray and gave it a quick jab, causing it to crack and break in half. "Nice try." He then delivered a quick kick to the stallion's gut and finished with a quick punch to the back of the stallion's head, knocking him out. Isaac looked at the other two Pegasi and grabbed them by their arms. He made his way towards the door and threw them out into the street. The two Pegasi began to stir just in time for the large Pegasus to be thrown on top of them. They let out a cry of discomfort. Isaac crouched down next to them with a flat expression on his face. "Next time, be sure to mind your manners. I'll be here in case you need a reminder," he said as he patted the red stallion on the head. As he made his way back inside, the ponies looked at him in amazement. "Sorry about that." He looked over at Mr. and Mrs. Cake and handed them the bag of bits he'd gotten from the princess. "That should be enough to cover the damage and keep the rest," he said with a smile. Isaac walked over to the speakers and removed his pea pod. He looked back at the ponies, whose jaws were hitting the floor. He grabbed his coat and began to walk back towards the library. Once he was there, he made his way up to the guest room. He opened the door to see a medium-sized bed with fresh sheets. Not bad. He hung his coat up and laid back on the bed, staring at the ceiling until he fell asleep.